Hey there friends, I'm Melony and you're watching akaMommy, and today I'm going to be tackling another VHC or Virtual Homeschool Co-op assignment. And this is assignment number 3. I'm a little bit behind on filming these, so I'm going to go ahead and get started on this video. Okay, so today's question is, how do you use a reading list in your homeschool? And this should be a pretty short video because quite frankly, I don't come up with our reading list. The curriculum that we use and the co-op that we are a part of actually gives our kids the reading list that they need for the entire school year. There is a lot of reading with this curriculum. I mean, my kids are reading literature every single week, sometimes an entire book. Now, granted, it's a small book, but it's a lot of reading. So the list that we use does come from our co-op, and the teachers of each class basically sit down with the curriculum, which we use Tapestry of Grace. They sit down with the curriculum and they figure out which books that they want to read and what they're going to do with that and so forth and so on. So our reading list comes from our co-op and it is derived from the curriculum that we use. So how big is our book list? Our book list that we have through the co-op, as I've mentioned, is pretty big. My kids will read a new book every single week, and it always pertains to whatever, we're learning at the time, whether it be in history or church history or something of that nature. I would say probably through the course of this year, my 2 oldest girls will probably end up reading, 40 books, maybe more, because we have 35 weeks of school. Excuse me, it'll probably be closer to around 30 books because we have 35 weeks of school, and there are some weeks that my kids use the same book multiple times, but they're also reading things that are not fiction, that they're reading for history and church history. So I can't even tell you how many books are on this list. It's a very large list of books. I've purchased a lot of books. I've purchased a lot of books. Okay, so the next question is, how do I assign the reading? I don't. Again, that is all done through our co-op. The kids at the beginning of the school year received a syllabus that told them what they needed to read, at what week they needed to read it, and so forth. So luckily for me, that part of our homeschool has been taken care of. I didn't have to sit down and figure any of that out. That is already done and prepared, and so I don't assign the reading, thankfully. Now, do I reward or give incentives to my children for reading? Yes, I do. I want my kids to read more than just what they've been assigned to read for school. And my 2 oldest girls absolutely love to read. Now, they don't have nearly as much time to read now as they did, during the summer months when we weren't doing school, but they still really enjoy reading. They read fiction. They love reading like the Hunger Games books. They loved reading the Divergent books. They loved, just anything like that, they absolutely love. And I do like to encourage reading for pleasure and not just for school. And so what we do in our home is actually the Pizza Hut Book It program. This is one of the incentives that we use. It's not the only, but I do use the Pizza Hut Book It program. This is not going to show up super well. But yeah, this is available through public schools. It's also available to homeschoolers, which I think is really cool. We are actually going to be using these this Friday. We are having a pizza movie night, and so whichever of my children have earned one of these, they are going to get their very own free personal pan pizza. Now, I will say that you're only allowed to use these up through grade 6, and I have only one child that is, I have Kyler's a toddler. Obviously, she's not even reading yet, but I read to her very, very frequently, and so I'm going to give her one of these. Maybe I shouldn't, but I'm going to. She's going to get her very own pizza, and so is Grant. Now, my 2 oldest girls are in grades 7 and 9, and so they do not qualify for this program anymore, but let's just be honest, a personal pan pizza is not going to feed a 13 or a 14-year-old anyway. Yeah, so this is one of the incentives that we like to use. I do have a couple of other incentives. Primarily, primarily for my son, because like I said, my older girls, they love to read. They don't need incentives to read. Like, I actually have to tell them, hey, time to put the book down and go to bed. But my son, I do have to give him incentives and rewards for reading. And typically what we do is I have this little treasure box type of area where there are lots of fun, inexpensive toys. And if he reads a certain amount of time, he gets to earn a ticket, and then with his tickets, he can turn those in for a prize. He really likes it, and it's a good, inexpensive way to offer him incentive to be able to read, or to spend more time reading. So that's what we do in our house, and it really seems to work. So the next question is, do I quiz for comprehension? Honestly, personally, I do not, but again, it goes back to the fact that we are a part of a co-op. If we were not part of the co-op and this were all my responsibility to come up with the reading list and the syllabus and everything, yes, I absolutely would quiz for comprehension. I would want to make sure that my kids understood what they were reading and that they didn't just fly through it, or that they didn't, you know, say they read it when they really didn't. So every single week, my kids answer thinking and accountability questions from their reading that we go to co-op, and they share with the students in their class. So they are held responsible for actually reading this material, answering the questions, and participating in class to share in a basically a Socratic type of discussion where you know, the kids just all kind of share. It's a really I really like this way of sharing. So yes, my kids are quizzed on comprehension of the books, just not by me. Okay guys, so that's going to be it for this video. I am going to post it to the Virtual Homeschool Co-op's webpage. At least I'm going to try to remember to do that. If you're really not sure what I'm talking about, I have another video where I did an announcement that I was going to be joining this group. If you're new to my channel, I would love to have you hit that red subscribe button and just follow along on my journey. We would love to have you be part of the family. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and that it has been helpful to you. Stay tuned for more, and I'll be back really soon. Bye guys.